I'm the Scrub and you're here for one reason. Our next Cruiserweight Wait, this is some banger music! I know you can't hear it right now, but I'm bopping my head. Damn, I lost my place. After foregoing the HGH and just pumping himself full of so much prime energy drinks that he's become his own cryptocurrency, the Brute Bomber has evolved to become the Brute Abominator. All we need is for him to find a body in a forest and have a brother who exclusively fights washed up 50-year-olds, and it will be just like real life. Time to learn about Cruiserweight M3. Simplified. The arena will not have any walls, so try not to fall off. Brutal Impact will be a multi-hit room-wide AoE. Brute will then cast one of two mechanics. Either Stoneringer the Bludgeoning, which will create a club in his right hand, or Stoneringer the Stabbing, which will create a sword in his right hand. He will then cast Brutish Swing. This will be the hit of the AoE depending on which Stoneringer was cast earlier. If he cast the Bludgeoning, it will be a point-blank AoE that will be a bit larger than max melee. If he cast the Stabbing, it will be a donut AoE where the only safe zone will be inside Brute's hitbox. Getting hit by either the donut or point-blank AoE will give you a Von stack. At the same time that this is happening, the off-tank will get the marker of a shared tank buster. Both tanks will need to stack away from the rest of the party and mitigate the hit. Alternatively, the off-tank can stand off to the side and use their invuln to take this alone. If you are a non-tank and take this with the tanks, you'll be instantly pummeled into dust. I'd recommend that both tanks stay towards the north and the rest of the party stay towards the south until the mechanic resolves. Spore Sack will create 4 AoEs, one on each of the middle edges of the arena. You'll just need to get away from these to avoid them. Getting hit by any of these AoEs will give you a Von stack. A seed will land on these AoEs and sprout a pair of vines. Each pair of vines will grow either stretching along the wall or in an L shape with one vine extending towards the middle. The seeds themselves and each end of the vines will get a point-blank AoE that you'll need to avoid. Getting hit by any of these AoEs will give you a Von stack. There will be 4 safe spots around the arena that won't have an AoE. However, we're only going to focus on the 2 safe spots opposite each other in the middle. Brute will cast Pump Smash and give one of the healers a stack marker, so everyone can group up in one of the middle safe spots to share the damage. As this is happening, the AoEs will go off and 4 adds will burst from the seeds. Brute will then smash the stack marker, creating a red and black AoE with 8 conal AoEs radiating from its center. There will be safe zones between each conal AoE that you will need to dodge into as you move out of the red and black AoE. Getting hit by any of these AoEs will give you a Von stack. You will need to target and destroy the adds as fast as possible. After a few seconds, 3 of the adds will create plus-shaped AoEs, while the 4th will create a donut AoE covering the entire arena. All of these AoEs will be able to be interrupted, but these adds don't have a lot of health, so they can be burned down before their attacks go off. If you fail to do this, you'll get a Von stack per AoE you get hit by. After all 4 have been defeated, Brute will cover the arena in an AoE and start to cast Quarry Swamp. When this goes off, it will send out a shockwave that will hit everyone in his line of sight with a debuff called Stone Curse. As long as you have this debuff, the next attack that you get hit by will instantly kill you. To avoid getting this debuff, you'll need to not be in his line of sight, and the only way to do this correctly is to stand behind one of the now defeated adds. This will ensure that you will be safe and dodge the mechanic. The one thing that won't be safe from this mechanic are the cameras, which will also be petrified and begin to crash around the arena indicated by proximity markers. You'll need to move away from each of the proximity markers, which will go off in the order that they appeared. As the 3rd one is going off, Brute will cast another Stoneringer. This one will be the opposite of the one he cast in the opening of the fight, so get ready to dodge in or out depending on the cast, and tanks will need to stack up and get smacked in the face. Brute will then jump into the middle of the arena and cast Neo Bombarian Special. This hit will send you soaring into the air and fling you back a large distance. Your positioning for this can immediately sign you up for impromptu base jumping lessons. To avoid the 90-story drop, you'll need to stand as close to the northern edge as possible so you can safely be knocked up and over the gap to the neighboring platform. Brute will follow you up there and begin phase 2. Off this platform, you will notice that there is scaffolding on the north, southwest, and northeast sides. Keep this in mind for later. Brute will be untargetable for a few seconds after he lands on the platform. Following this, he will jump to hang off the northern wall and become targetable again. Brute will gain the status effect of Directional Disregard while he's hanging on the wall, which will nullify any requirements for melee positionals. He will always gain this status while he is hanging off a wall. Once he becomes targetable, he will cast Stoneringer the Bludgeoning. This is still the point-blank AoE around him, however, because he is hanging off the scaffolding, the AoE will now be from the position of the wall. This means that, for Bludgeoning, you will need to move away from his targeting circle when he casts Brutish Swing to dodge the attack. He will then cast another Stoneringer the Stabbing. As he begins casting Brutish Swing, a tether of vines will extend from Brute to the scaffolding wall on the southwest. Just before the cast ends, Brute will leap to the tethered wall and the donut AoE will appear from his new position. So you'll need to make sure that you are already close to this wall or use a gap closer to ensure that you're inside his hitbox to avoid the attack. You'll need to be careful about using a gap closer though, as doing so at the wrong angle will make you wish for a parachute. As this goes off, Brute will cast Glower Power. This will be a straight line AoE in front of the boss, along with everyone getting a point blank electric AoE around themselves. Everyone will need to get to the sides of the boss's AoE while spreading out to avoid overlapping the point blank AoEs. Getting hit by Brute's straight line AoE will give you a Vuln stack. After these go off, one of the tanks will get a flare marker with the cast of Abominable Blink. This tank will need to get away from the rest of the party to reduce the overall damage. I'd recommend that the tank with this flare marker go to the southwest corner of the platform so they can keep hitting the boss, while everyone else goes to the north side of the hitbox to avoid taking too much damage. Revenge of the Vines is a room-wide AoE. Brute will cast another Stone Ringer the Stabbing and store a Donut AoE for later. Brute will then cast Spore Explosion. This will be 3 sets of 6 circular AoEs that will appear one set after the other on the platform. You'll need to wait for the first 2 sets of AoEs to be put down, which will reveal where you will need to stand, which will be where the third set of AoEs spawn in. After the first set of circles go off, quickly move into the middle of where they were, as these are now the safe areas for the rest of the mechanic. Getting hit by any of these AoEs will give you a Vuln stack. As the third set of AoEs are put down, Brute will cast Brutish Swing and tether to the northeast wall. As the cast is ending, Brute will jump to this tethered wall and perform the stored Donut AoE from earlier. So make sure that you get close to the northeast wall as he moves to the next set of scaffolding. Right after this will be another Glower Power, so spread out as best you can and avoid the straight line AoE to dodge the attack. After this, Brute will cast Power Slam. This will destroy the arena and cause everyone to fall for several seconds. As you land on the arena floor below, Brute will join you on the ground and phase 3 will begin. The new area has a wall surrounded by fire. Touching this wall will give you a burn dot tick for 15 seconds. Brute will cast Stone Ringer 2 Stone Ringers. This will summon the sword and club together, one in each hand. He will then cast Spore Sack and create the 4 AoEs on each side of the arena to plant the seeds. As this happens, Brute will jump into the middle of the room. He will face one of the walls around the arena and tether to it with the vines while casting Brutish Swing. As this is casting, one of the weapons will begin to glow. You will need to pay attention not only to which wall he is facing, but also which weapon is glowing to know what you will need to do for this mechanic. If the sword is glowing, you'll need to get towards the wall that he is tethered to and inside his hitbox. If the club is glowing, then you'll need to be at least more than max melee distance away from that wall. This is because the AoE will be from the position of the wall, as Brute will jump onto the wall before performing the AoE. After this goes off, the short vines from the AoEs that were put down earlier will extend and you'll need to avoid them as best you can. As you're dodging these AoEs, Brute will forget what franchise we're in and attempt to go Super Saiyan as he begins to cast Lashing Lariat. You'll need to quickly get to the opposite side of the glow coming from him to avoid the Lariat, which will be similar to the size of the Lariat from his original fight in M3. Getting hit by this will give you a Vuln stack. This might seem complicated, but the solution is actually simple. When Brute tethers to the wall, you will need to look for which hand is holding the glowing weapon. When he jumps to the wall and uses a weapon, that weapon will disappear. This will free up that hand for him to use for the Lariat. And because he turns around when he lands on the wall, if you were standing on the same side as the glowing weapon, you will now be on the side holding the other weapon. This will always be the safe side as it is the opposite side of the Lariat. As the Lariat goes off, the 4 adds will spawn in and you'll need to group them all up and nuke them down as fast as you can. As you're grouping everything up, Brute will tether to one of the side walls and cast another Brutish Swing again with his remaining weapon. So if the sword was used first, this will be the club and you'll need to get away. And if he used the club, this will now be the sword and you'll need to get inside his hitbox. After this goes off, a tower stack marker will appear in the center of the arena. Brute will launch himself off the wall and return to the arena by slamming on the stack marker. Everyone will need to group up inside the tower to share this damage. After this, Brute will cast Quarry Swamp and cover the arena in a Petrifaction AoE again. Just make sure that you get behind any of the dead adds to cut the line of sight to the boss and avoid the Petrifaction. Brute will then attempt to rage quit again, then cast another Stone Ringers, either bludgeoning or stabbing, along with a shared tank buster. So the tanks will need to pair up away from the party to share the damage. At the same time, everyone will need to dodge in or out depending on the cast. There will be another Pump Smash stack marker, so everyone will need to group together to soak the damage, followed by the red and black AoE with the spread of Conal AoEs. Just dodge around all of these mechanics as best you can. After this will be another Stone Ringers 2 cast. Make sure that you focus on which wall he is tethered to and which weapon is glowing. After he lands on the wall, he will cast Glower Power. This, like in the previous phase, will be a straight line AoE through the middle of the arena, along with everyone getting a point blank AoE. So everyone will need to get out of the middle of the arena and spread out to avoid overlapping the AoEs. Right as the AoEs go off, there will be another Lashing Lariat, so get to the opposite side to whichever side is glowing. After this, Brute will tether to one of the side walls and cast the other weapon's AoE. Following this will be a room-wide AoE, tower stack marker, brutal impact, and another Stone Ringers bludgeoning or stabbing with a shared tank buster. From here, mechanics in the final phase will repeat until Brute Abominator has been defeated. Congratulations, you have defeated M7. My name is The Scrub. Thank you for watching.